Welcome back to the I Did It First podcast. I'm Anna.
And I'm Riley.
And we're here with our producer, Kenny.
Hey, Kenny, with no mic, but he's waving behind the camera.
This week's episode, we are talking about being in your hoe era. That's right. So I would say being in your hoe era doesn't necessarily mean you're sleeping around or body count, although it can be. So I don't want to take it off the table.
No, and we're not shaming that either, because teach their own. Like, live your life,
Yeah.
live your truth. But we're more so referring to the quote unquote hoe era, which is more energy based and just like living that truth and being the most confident version of yourself. And it's a lot easier for people to point at you and see that you are presenting as someone that maybe you haven't before. So people will just call you a hoe or call you whatever name fits their narrative.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
It's about living unapologetically, I think, and just being true to the things you want to do, the things you want to say, and not worrying about whether they're liked or disliked or honestly how they're going to be received, which, you know, that's a big part of it for a lot of people, why they refrain from doing it. And so I think we're talking about especially why a lot of women have this kind of evolution. And again, it's iconic either way, whether it's you decide that you need to start dating around or it's this moment of dressing different or just being confident in your skin. Like I said, they're both iconic.
Well, I even think of, because I have been painted as a hoe recently by older people, just some nasty older people. And one thing that sticks out to me is in New York this past summer when I wore, and this is something we'll refer to as a lot because it's become like a joke at this point.
It has. We talk about it way too much.
Yeah, well, the tits for brain shirt. And I was talking about it with Hannah because on our walk, she's like, obviously, if you were stupid, you don't wear something like that.
Obviously. But that moment was so like, I'm in my feels. I love where I'm at.
I'm so confident. I feel so good about my body. Funny enough, I had never been more single in my life. I literally was not talking to anyone. I was not entertaining anyone. I was not hooking up with anyone. No. It was just me. And for the first time ever, I was so okay with that too. But it literally came off to others. And I don't know if it's intimidation or what, but that's what I think of. It's like dressing up as the main character. And that's as simple as literally going on a subway in New York, or going to Trader Joe's or getting coffee. Or you show up and blow up and you're going out like on a Friday night. It doesn't fucking matter because the most important person in your life is you.
I think being in your hoe era also will, no matter what, make people uncomfortable because they're not where they at or doing what they want to be doing. And I think that's where judgment comes from. Yeah. So whether it is your, like I keep referring to both things. You could be, I don't care if you're sleeping with Tom, Dick, and Harry. But the point is, if that's what makes you happy, then by all means, you know, men do it all the time.
Yes.
And, you know, even when they're talking about like a fuck boy, whatever, like it's still not as negative as when you refer to it when you're talking about a woman. So like I said, it could be either, it could be both. I mean, by all means, it's like if it makes you happy, then do it. And we're talking about, as we started talking about this, like moments or events in our lives where I was like, wait,
there's so much.
There's so many where we've had that hoe era moment. And sometimes it's an event or it's just a period of time is what we've decided. And after I went down the TikTok rabbit hole, I was like, I love to see and so many other people talk about it in the same regard because it's totally a thing.
So what is an example that you
Okay,
can think
so
of?
for me, I have a lot. I
mean, yeah.
I have a lot that I didn't realize at the time. So I'll say when I did Hawaiian Tropic.
Crazy.
I did that after you were born. So for me, I tended to be more modest just with my clothing, how I behaved. And then after you were born, I got honestly like the best shape that I had been up until like my whole life at that point. Mind you, I was still 24, but I tended to not get those kind of results. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do Hawaiian Tropic.
Yeah.
And granted, there's a lot more to that stuff that isn't great, but for me, it was just like, I'm going to get out there in a bikini because I felt so good about like how I looked and how I felt that I really didn't care.
Good.
And it wasn't received well by neighbors, moms in the area. Like,
Really?
no.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
You never told me
They
this.
weren't nice at all. I mean, that's usually how that goes.
Of
And I was
course.
like, I don't care. Like, you know, you run into the moms that are like, I'm still getting in shape since the baby. And you're like, how old's the baby? They're
You're
like,
122 months.
it's like such a thing. And so
145 months.
I was really about just being confident and feeling so good at that
Yes.
time. And
that's also so important because you're in this marriage, you have a new kid, and in order to provide for people other than yourself, you have to show up for yourself first.
yeah, and it was honestly like a lot of new moms like they feel like they lose their identity. And that was a moment where I just went, no, like I'm still here and I care
Yes.
what I look
and
like,
you're
how I
your
feel.
own person aside from
And that I'm still going to be thriving. Like I can be like this mom and still be like, hey, hot mom. That was always.
you were MILF. Has MILF been around forever? Like that
No,
term?
I'd say like American Pie really
Oh, really?
really did that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
obviously a MILF was a thing.
Of
and
course, yes.
The actual acronym,
Yeah.
I'm not so sure.
Man, I love fishing.
Yeah, that's it. So it was that. And then it wasn't long after I did the Man Show and that segment on there. And I should have, again, at that point, I could have felt really reserved and not wanting to do it,
Yeah.
especially because I'd gotten some pretty negative feedback and shit talking from other women. But then I really realized, you know what? Like they're not happy with them. And at the time, you know, I was married. I did it with the person I was married to. Like it was.
And you just showed me that clip. Your back was toned.
I worked.
You
my
looked
ass-
so good.
You like hung. We would go run. You didn't know it. You were as happy as could be in that little stroller, singing and dancing, and I would just run till I couldn't run anymore. And it was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
So
Did you also know, was it like, hey, come be on the show, or did you have like time to prepare?
I didn't have time to prepare.
So you
That-
just looked like
I
that.
was just looking like that. That was the
Oh
best part.
my
I did a
gosh.
lot of things at that time because I think I really, for myself, just like, again, not lose my identity. Like these things are still things
Yeah, that you
I
want
want
to
to
do without
try.
a kid.
Yeah.
even.
And so they're all still things that I look back and I'm like, that was really cool. That was really fun.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I mean, including Playboy.
Playboys, I like all these little things. She'll tell me stuff at home and she'll just drop this lore. And I'm like, what? Like, you have to go into Playboy now. You can't just.
No, I mean, I did a test shoot at the Bunny House and it did not work out at the time for other reasons, but
Yeah.
just that whole experience, pulling into the gates, like all of it. And it was so exciting. And again, I was so, you know, I think coming from a European family, like nobody really thought twice about it. I'll be honest. In my family, other people had opinions, but
Yeah.
like, of course, my usual rainmakers at the time were like a Laura. I remember talking to Laura and she's like, you're so fucking rad. I love you so much. I love that you're just still like in your skin
Aw.
and feeling confident. And it was awesome.
She's awesome.
And still, I don't regret it. Like,
And that, no, you shouldn't. Like, that is.
it was an iconic moment. Like, I love it.
And that's the part of me that I am in bed by like 8 p.m. every night. So I'm like, should I? My kids are going to have the most like, oh, your mom. I don't know. I don't have fun mom stories like
Yes,
that.
you do. Oh my gosh. Are you
Not
kidding?
really. Not-
Okay. How about any breakup story?
I actually do think that women get labeled as hoes after a breakup,
Mm-hmm.
but every woman gets hotter after a breakup.
Everyone.
And it's so funny because guys will post in the gym after breakups and it's like, she never had a problem with your body. It's like, babe, you need therapy.
Yeah. Show
Like-
pictures in a therapy office, not in the gym.
like
Yeah.
it never had to do with your bulk or cut. Like,
No.
relax. But I think literally, if you want to get hotter and you want to glow up, date someone who will just like crush you for a little. And then the glow up is like
So real.
exponential. It's crazy. But I honestly, when I was dating and when I'd break up with people, when I got to the point where I was like, I'm not being with this person, I just turned into this like I don't want to say cunt, but it was just this like, I don't give a fuck energy anymore. And it's like, I know what I'm doing and you're not it. And
I think it's that moment you stop seeking validation from someone else.
that's exactly what it is.
And you're just like, I'm doing this for myself. And it's a selfish moment.
Yes. And literally relationship by relationship, you realize that. And it's so important because you learn so much about yourself. And I remember Ted, I call him Ted because and maybe this is really fucked up, but it looks like he has thyroid eye disease because his eyes look like someone's maybe choking him. Like,
okay, I actually always felt like this, and I would hint at you to say something, side note, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's mean. I'm like, he might actually have a medical condition.
But you know what's funny is I actually was in class on Wednesday and I was talking about my dream, and I'm actually going to have to bring up this dream because this is crazy. But in my dream, he was there and I was explaining all these characters to the girls that I sit with, and they were fucking, I mean, like literally crying, laughing. We were laughing so loud. But I call him Ted because we just don't give power to their names. That's another thing.
That's another thing. How?
But yeah, I remember he was going to school in Hawaii and I was leaving to get my boobs done, and I told him like, I'm getting my boobs done, and he's like, no, don't. Which is crazy work because I can't imagine if I were a boyfriend.
I actually thought that was crazy.
I was like, are you gay?
No, he was very insecure.
Like, if you are, live
deeply.
your truth. I love that for you. I love the girls and the gays.
No, because even
what guy does not want his girlfriend?
Even the gays. I'm sorry.
Yeah, even the gays will eat it up. They're like, oh, you're hot.
Yes,
they know.
They're your biggest cheerleaders.
But I got my boobs done, and first of all, he was like so anti, don't get your boobs done, and I told him I'm going to do it. So I literally came home from Hawaii, got my boobs done, told him not to come home, and of course he was so selfish and never did things when I asked him to. And
I told him not to come home.
Yes. He comes home and then asks to like drive me to my surgery. I'm like, are you fucking drunk off the Pruno you've been making in your apartment?
Yeah.
Like, huh? No. So when I wake up from surgery, I go home. He comes over to visit me. The same day I get my surgery, I break up with him, like high off pain meds that they had given me. And I remember walking in my parents' room, and I was definitely out of it, but this was already a decision I'd come to prior.
You did.
Like,
I think it just gave you courage.
The power. Yeah. And I remember being like, well, you'll never get to see these perfect tits now. And him just being like, and him being like, I told all my friends you got them. I'm like, okay, wow.
I'm sure your friends are really mad also.
Okay. And I remember sitting there like,
you're like, is that why they're sliding into my DMs?
Yeah.
I just figured out.
Do you think that was smart?
I don't think he was very smart.
No.
No.
I don't think
But just the way you did it. Like, I think it was, again, it's
and
that
then
unapologetic. Like, I'm just doing this for me and I don't really care.
And that's when I started to get really hot. I don't want to say that's when I started to get really hot because that sounds like super.
No,
but it was just the confidence that came when I realized,
oh
my gosh, I don't need you. You're actually a horrible person that contributes nothing to my life. That is what being in this hoe energy era is all about. It's just fucking like living your life for you and not for anybody else. Like, it's your truth to live. It's this confidence. It's like these girls that I see on TikTok that are taking themselves to prom. That concept alone is fucking crazy.
It's awesome. It's
I love how girls are just more and more independent or closer with their girlfriends, like doing life with their girlfriends. And
I love this too.
I love that. Like, I feel like there isn't that much of I don't want to say demand for a boyfriend, but you know how before it's like, oh my gosh, I want a boyfriend. I don't really hear people say that anymore.
I don't think so either. I think a lot of girls have gotten very good at being, again, it's this whole era type of idea that they've gotten really good at just getting like self-care, who they are, unapologetic. Like, I know I keep using that because it's one way to really describe like how they're being.
Yeah, I agree.
Like the confidence, like even the blocking people, muting people on socials, where before everyone's like, oh, what are they going to think? And it's now like, I don't care.
I love blocking people. I'm like, you're not going to bother me on my phone.
No, that's exactly it. And it's like, I mean, again, it could be the other version, like being promiscuous or doing that. Like, I heard a story today from someone I knew about someone he was working with. And this person just got a divorce after I don't know how many years.
Oh, okay. I know where you're going with this.
And she'd been with this person basically since she was 19. Yeah. And we're talking like
50 years?
50 years. And smoking
40.
hot woman, by the way. I saw pictures and I'm like, okay, I wish I could look back at it. Like that, she was incredible.
I want to see what she looks like.
And he was talking about how she's dressing, and even I guess someone in the family showed pictures on a trip and like her bathing suits. And I said, you know what? This is her moment. Like
yes.
she probably maybe didn't live in the best marriage, and now she's just like this happy, free, like maybe she might go out and date a whole bunch. Who cares? She obviously never got that chance. And if that's what it means, then by all means,
by all fucking
have
means,
at it.
Yeah.
This is your time to do that. Like, I want to keep that one just kind of stored away in my mind. Like, I don't want to lose sight of that, especially as I get older. Like,
yeah, I agree. And I think it literally comes down to just prioritizing yourself, because the right person will also respect that.
I agree.
Like, you literally cannot show up for anyone if you don't show up for yourself. And I think about it even with my boyfriend now. Another example, like even me hitting him up.
That was crazy.
That's like boss bitch energy. And he literally says it all the time. He's like, your confidence is probably the most attractive thing about you.
I love
like,
that.
You don't, and I don't think about it like, because I guess I am confident. I know I'm confident, but it's not something that I'm like, oh, should I? Like, I'm just like, fuck it. Like, it's a no. What do we say? Why can't I think of it?
It's just being able to do it without thinking about it, though.
No, and not taking shit personally.
No.
Like, okay.
Like, I say the tattoos one. Like, I started getting tattoos even though I wanted them forever. I was 45.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a moment for me, because I just was like, fuck it, I'm doing it for me. I'm just happy to do it. And I don't really care they're not for anybody else.
Literally, if you don't like tattoos, don't get tattoos.
Easy.
It has nothing to do with you.
I mean, it could be about a thirst trap you're posting. Like, maybe it's not that. Maybe you're just actually
maybe I love just rewatching my story to look at myself, because people are like, oh, who are you posting this for?
Like me.
Or I remember I had a friend, Brian. Do you remember Brian?
Yeah.
And he'd be like, why did you post this? I know what you look like. And it would be like so funny, because I'm like, fine, you ate with that. But I literally post stories to rewatch myself. Is that bad? I don't give a fuck.
It's like a photo album. You want to keep it,
I don't
preserve
care.
it. Yeah.
My photos are for the girls and the gays.
Absolutely. I mean, even that Joshua Tree, like all those photos we took, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely posting this. Like, I'm working really hard still. Like,
even me doing full glam just to end up dressing like Jesse Pinkman. Like, that's for me. That's not for anybody else.
but I love that.
I love that.
And so that's basically like, I mean, it, like, the iconic part of it is continuing to do it, because it's really easy to fall back into the worry, like, about perception and judgment. But I think just keeping on track with that is probably the most important.
I agree. And honestly, I think a big part of it is the time and like era that I'm growing up in, and just seeing you having put so many of your own priorities on the back burner. Like, I'm not saying this to be offensive. I'm not trying to piss you off, but I'm like, obviously you are a people pleaser. And you've sacrificed a lot of things that I know you would want to do just because you're worried about other people. And that's where I'm like, fuck, like I just want you to be selfish. And that's what I've also grown up to, is like, no, I'm going to be selfish. Also circling back to my first date with my boyfriend now, I remember he like asked to pick me up at this time. And I was like, no, you can actually pick me up at this time because I'm going to work out. And I like need time to get ready, and I'm going to coffee with my like.
That's right.
And those are things that you need to just set the tone in your life. Like, that's a perfect example. Like, I'm not going to sacrifice who I am for you. And I love him, and he still knows that now. Like, I still have things that I need to do in order to fill my bucket, because if my bucket is empty, there's no transfer of love to you.
No. And
like, I can't pour into your bucket if I have nothing.
That mindset is where it like starts, right? And so it's really easy to compromise that. And I think staying selfish, especially when you're with someone, is a huge challenge, because then again, optics too, even in that relationship, right? You worry, but like in your case, I'll use you as an example. Like, I feel like he's honestly supportive of just about everything so far.
He's so supportive. He really is.
Yeah.
And he will never like give me a hard time.
No.
And then that's where I want to act like a hoe. That's where I'm like, I'll be your hoe. Like, you're the most supportive person ever. And that is so attractive. And it's not like phony. It's not transactional. Like, oh, I'm being supportive. So because I want something out of it. Like, that's just who he is. So in return, yeah, I'll act like.
Yeah, but I also want to circle back to the mindset about, even though we're saying it is an energy and it's a mindset and it's not about mileage or body count. If it is for someone, like,
own it. I don't care.
I also will say, like, by all means, if you're a grown woman, person, whatever,
just
go
make
for
smart
it.
decisions.
Like, be smart, be careful, but that's also part of it. It's like, there's no shame in that. There's nothing.
And there's like, do not perform for external validation.
100%.
Like, you literally have to focus on yourself. I think another story, and because we got coffee right before and we're like sitting and exchanging stories, and then it's like, oh my gosh, remember this and remember this. And I remember when I broke up with Toothless.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously I was fucking crushed. I was devastated. But at this point I was also just so, I don't want to say like numb, but just so, what the fuck are you doing?
You're
like
exhausted.
I was exhausted. And I remember there was so much shit that had gone on, and he cheated. And I remember I woke up and my parents weren't home, but you called me, and I saw my phone ringing. It was my mom. And the thing is, it's like, I already knew when I felt bad and like, fuck, this is not going to be what I want to hear. It's because I knew like what I was doing was not right by staying with him. Not me being in my hoe era. No. But I remember.
That was in your no era.
That was in my no era. Real. That's real. But I remember I picked up the phone and I went to your room, and I'm like fidgeting around in your closet, and you're telling me, you're like, well, if you could never talk to me again. I don't know if you remember this.
I do.
But
I do.
Like,
there's
a chance you'll never talk to me again. You'll hate me forever. But this is like not your person. He would never do this to you. And it's like everything I knew, you know?
I know you knew. But I also knew at that time, and no, let's back up. Prior to this day, there was some real attachment concerns.
Oh, with him?
Before I think you made up your mind. And so that's where I came from with that, because I was really worried you wouldn't talk to me. But I couldn't. I was like, I'll chance it, because I just couldn't watch it.
It was horrible. It was really horrible. But I remember it so fucking vividly. And he was asleep when I answered the phone initially. And I was like fidgeting in your closet. You're telling me like, this is not your person. And you were crying. I remember you were crying and I started crying because I could
that's
feel,
what we do.
but I could feel your pain, and it was just so genuine. And like, obviously I know you want the best for me. And literally in that moment, I put not your needs, but like I took myself out of my own body and looked at my situation from like a outside point of view. And I was like, fuck, like, maybe I don't think this is the right decision in the moment, but I know I will not regret this decision.
Well, because I was watching you for someone who typically lived in their hoe era. They're very confident. The leader of the lifeguard, captains, like, this is how many moments did you make your hoe era? And then you were complete opposite during this time. So it was one of those things I have to speak now, or else she's never going to get it back.
But I hung up the phone and I was like, I love you. And everyone's crying. It's whatever. And I stopped crying and I pulled myself together, and I knew, like, I could feel it in my throat. I knew I was going to have to break up with him. Like, there was literally no way. I told people at my work that once even played water polo with him that I was breaking up with him over the weekend. So also too, if I came back to work on Monday and they're like, what did you do? That is not going to make me sound like a very confident
No, and you're
person.
way too stubborn and full of pride to to not follow through. Yeah. That's why you told people.
So I walked back into my room, and I remember he looks at me and he goes, that was your mom, huh? Like, I could hear he knew too. And I was like, yeah. And then I told him, I literally just looked him in the eyes and I go, at least I'll never have to know what could have been. And I turn around, literally get my bag, leave. And then he like follows me. I don't say anything. Don't cry. Don't do anything.
I'm going to cry.
I get in my car.
You said that.
which I'm like, thinking about it now, I ate with that one.
You ate with that.
I ate, because considering we got back together after being together when we were like 16 and now we were much older, like, creme de la creme. That was perfect. But granted, I was so fucking heartbroken, and I've talked about it with my boyfriend now, and I'm like, you have to get it. I really, not to bring up past people, but I really thought for a long time that this was like my person. Yeah.
I'm sure he knows as well as I do that was in your
I
face.
know that's not. I was talking about
know.
it with Hannah again because we went on a very long walk, so there was so much we talked about. But I'm like, thank God, like literally, thank God.
I think it had to happen,
And
but I'm just glad it didn't happen for so long that you didn't go back to being who you were.
No, but that is literally what like catapulted me into this like era of confidence, because for a long time I thought I couldn't do anything without this person. And now it's like, wait, I can do so fucking much more without you. Like, I'm capable of anything. Like, I don't have someone doubting me.
Which is ironic, because you started you were that way when you reconnected with him.
I know.
Like, I brought up your 21st birthday. And you're
and
walking
you say
around.
this, but I don't think so.
Okay, you were already in this mode of like grinding at school, grinding like fitness, spiritual, like check all the boxes, every one of them, like healthy heart, healthy mind, healthy body, like. And I look back at pictures, and you spent your whole birthday in a bikini, and I said, that's not like, girl code is usually to cover something up. Let's be honest.
I was still drinking at the time, though.
I don't think that really mattered. I don't know if it's just being 21 and being in perfect shape, but you were so confident in your skin, and you felt so good. So that's why it was also so drastic during that period, because there was such
that
clear point of reference.
Yes.
And so, getting back to that, and I feel like you've come out even strong. I'm almost grateful, actually.
I am so grateful. I literally think everything has to happen the way it's supposed to happen, and that refers back to like the gratitude podcast. It's these moments that when you're in them, you don't realize they are literally setting you up for success. And it seems so like, oh my gosh, why could this be happening to me? But it all has to happen and play out the way that it's supposed to in order for you to become a better version of yourself.
Yeah. And now, I mean, you appreciate the situation you're in so much more.
And I told my boyfriend that too. I was like, had that not like crashed and burned and tumbled, and I mean, crashed and burned is not even like a strong enough description, I would not be able to love you the way that I can, because for the longest time I thought that was it. And it's like, I needed that person to show me, and I needed like God to show me, not only is this not your person, he's just a horrible person. But
again, it's brought you to today, and it's like,
and this
even
confidence,
if like riding podium at Grit, it's like when you guys leave and he's like, oh my gosh, I just love watching you up there. And again, it's about you being in your skin and being so confident. He's such a cheerleader.
Well, because too, he told Caitlin, because Caitlin's like, do you love that your girlfriend's so hot? And he's like, yeah, I love it during the second song, because he's like, I know that hoodie's coming off, because I usually start like in a hoodie. And I looked at him the other day, last Saturday when we rode,
I bet
and during the first song, he's like, he's like yelling at me. I'm like, you're fuck,
like,
worry about yourself. But it's so true. And like we said, obviously there's the literal sense of being a hoe, and again, just own it, own everything you do, and nothing's embarrassing if you own it. But also just that energy shift, when you are the most confident version of yourself, people are gonna have shit to say either way, because the thing is, they can talk about you and know that people will listen, because the second they talk about themselves or what's happening in their life, people don't listen. So if they have to call you a hoe or label you as however they need to,
just remember they're in their no era.
Yeah, they're in their no era. So you live it up in your hoe era.
Hoe era.
But it's so true. Confidence is like the best accessory you can have, and if you literally have to fake it till you make it, people don't know the difference.
And you need that good circle around you.
Yes, surround yourself with people who are also living by this.
Yes, so when you're not feeling it, they remind you to be that hoe.
You are that bitch.
Be that bitch.
Show up like that bitch, because you are that bitch.
Yes. It's so important.
It's so important. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to the I Do It First podcast. I'm Riley.
I'm Anna.
And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.